Anytime somebody asks me when it all started, like what inspired me to like go on this dream, and I always start with one story, and this story isn't necessarily a happy story. It's not meant to be inspiring in the way you think it is. In my first 2 years of high school, I was shamefully addicted to League of Legends, and I remember this very specific game. I was top lane. I was playing Riven, and I was on like one of my first computer setups ever. I didn't have anything like this. I was playing on a laptop, very, very humble beginnings. And honestly, my gaming addiction was it was killing my grades. It was honestly like emotionally deteriorating. I didn't know who I was at the time, like normal high school shit, right? And that night where my parents come into the room and I'm playing the game, and they always ask me, have I done my homework? I didn't do the homework. And I was very, very stressed, very, very stressed. I knew I had assignments I wasn't doing. I knew that there were things I needed to get done and I wasn't being responsible. And I just remember, like, on that moment, I started realizing the more my parents were talking to me, it was kind of like an out of body experience. I was like looking at myself in the room from the outside in like real time, and I broke down like completely. And literally the next day, I did actionable steps, to change my behavior. I deleted the game, I deleted Steam, I deleted all the voice clients. I never talked about the game with my friends. I made sure to tell my friends the next day, like, hey, I'm not getting on until I fix this. My grades are shit, my life is shit, and I don't want to be like this. And some of them didn't really understand at the time, but again, we were in high school, who really understood anything at the time. And honestly, the difference between me then and me now is the level of dedication. Like, every single day that I worked towards getting better grades and being a better person was a learning experience for me to actually get to the level that I'm at right now. And at the time, I was like 15, 16, I think. And right now I'm 24, and I am a completely changed person. But inside, at my core, I'm definitely the same person. In this journey, I first started as wanting to be a player. I wanted to be a pro player so bad. I grew up watching esports, but I didn't really have the mindset as a player. When I started growing up and through high school, I actually got an interest for parkour and free running, and I trained it. I've trained it for 6 to 7 years. I also coached it for that amount of time, and I just felt like I had a coaching mindset. So before, I thought my potential was for me to be somebody big individually, but now I understand that my potential is actually to help other people realize their potential. And when people ask me why I like coaching so much, it's because I like helping people. And I want them to realize that their potential is a lot bigger than they ever thought it was. Because genuinely, if you really went for it, I can promise you, you'll get something out of it. So, 3 years ago, I was in Brazil. I was with my family. We visit them pretty often. I was in Brazil, and I was writing in a journal and planned to be pro. So I actually started coaching in 2020, or close to the end of 2019 to 2020. And I first started on Fiverr, super humble beginnings. I had a couple individual sessions here and there and got some pretty good reviews. And then I basically built up the confidence to go to team coaching, and that just kind of skyrocketed for me. And then it got to a point where I hit a plateau, and I was like, well, I need to break this plateau. And I felt the best way to do that was to actually get a mentor. And, I'm going to shout out my mentor, Face. He works for Wild, an esports organization that's also in Europe. They are also on the fight to try and get to top 8 in RLCS. And yeah, he helped me out a lot. And that was really the first person that I met that didn't have an ego. I don't want to throw any shade at the community, but you meet a lot of people that don't really want to help you. And honestly, I'm just fortunate that he took me under his wing, per se, and helped me out. But before I met my mentor, when I was a player, I started a team or I tried starting a team, and before the team was called Hot Ramen. And from Hot Ramen, I was trying out a couple of people, and then I met Wiffles. Shout out Wiffles. And Wiffles was actually friends with my mentor, and I was playing with Wiffles and Raven on Flare. You guys aren't gonna know what that is, but I just had to give a special shout out to the boys. So then from there, I tried being a player, thought I wasn't cut out for it, started coaching. Coaching was going really well, so I said, I don't want to be a player anymore, let's actually do this. And yeah, now back to the story. I was in Brazil and I was writing the plan, and I actually have the journal here. So yeah, so I brought this journal to Brazil, and I was writing down this plan right here, Plan to Pro, Phase 2. And the reason I called it Phase 2 was because I felt that Phase 1 was already completed. I started my Fiverr, and I started, coaching people, coaching teams, and that was really the first step, was just to gain the experience. And yeah, and this entire plan, I don't know if I actually finished all these things on these plans, but at the end of it, it says, make a journal entry, take notes here, enter on PC, practice what your players practice, learn how they act, just everything to actually get me to European RLCS. So, again, like I said, I started with that story because it really just starts with actionable steps. And that's really how I did it. And this journal right here has all the tryout prep that I did for my first pro team, which was Dream Conspiracy. I met Royalis. Shout out Royalis. I love that kid. I met him in person. I was very happy to see him when I was in Brazil while I was coaching Endgame. Then I went to my first boot camp, and that was incredible. All this hard work and all this dedication got me to a point where I felt like I could have started coaching Europe. And I got another mentor as well and started talking to other coaches and some top coaches in the European scene. That really helped me elevate my technical side and also merge it with the mental side of my game.
Eu tô mal.
Tirei. Ele equipa.
Eu corto.
Tirei você.
Bora! Porra!
Nice, guys. Nice. Mano, a rotação tá muito bom. Royales, agressivo neles, tá?
Isso, cara.
Fica cortando eles. Vamos, guys. A gente é melhor. A gente é mais rápido, mais mecânico, mais tudo. Vamos.
But yeah, that's basically kind of how I started everything and how it's going now. I'm signed to Guild. I really appreciate Guild to trust my skills to do the job and to really lead this team to where they want to go. I really wanted to put this documentary out there because if it's something that you want to take away from this, is that you can literally start from nothing and be something. And I don't know if I am something right now, but I always made a promise to myself that I would be, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job of that. So these last 2 years have honestly been a huge grind. And for any coaches, any players that are out there who are kind of lost and they don't really know, like, trust me, I've had my tough times as well. I didn't really think I could be here, but I feel like things in my life also happen for a reason, for me to actually want to follow this, and I just think everything kind of went into place. And I don't necessarily think you need a sign to start being different or start changing your methods. I think all it takes is that one little moment where you realize something needs to change and actually change it. And just start with whatever you think is best. And at the end of the day, this whole journey has been trial and error. And I've failed a lot of times. And I was a really, really shit coach at the beginning. But you keep on going and you keep on pushing. So if it's anything you're going to take away from this video, is that if you think you can't do it, you'd be surprised. For real.
Guys, look at me. Look at the position we're in right now. Believe, indomitable spirit, and resilience. We are going to go everything this last game because we are going to fucking prove who is the best in South America right now.
Da esquerda.
Volta.
Do meio.
When I became pro, I started in South America, and I felt like starting in South America was the best for me because I'm Brazilian. So I felt like if I had started where my roots were, I could also use it as a way to, you know, learn the Brazilian culture a little bit more and know how the youth really sees Rocket League in Brazil, and also just, you know, be around teenagers who are Brazilian and who want to make a statement and be better, right? I am super thankful for the experience that I had. I do think that South America wasn't the best fit for me in the end. And, you know, I don't want to throw any shade to the region. Everybody there is just trying to do their best, you know, like, being from Brazil, I know that there are a lot of kids out there that don't have what I have. And honestly, I just wish all the players I've coached the absolute best. I'm very happy for one of the players I coached, Brad, who is now going to the major. So I feel like that being able to teach these guys valuable things to be able to elevate their game and elevate who they want to be is again why I do this. And, you know, shout out Endgame, shout out Dream Conspiracy, and shout out Nova Saevi. I had an absolute blast coaching those teams. And it definitely prepared me to be technically skilled enough to coach Europe as well. So yeah, I'm super thankful. On top of that, though, you know, I'm the first ever South American coach to ever move to Europe, and I'm just so shocked and so grateful for being able to do something like that. Like, yeah, sure, it helps that I'm bilingual and I can speak Portuguese, I can speak English, but genuinely, Europe was always the trajectory I wanted, and I'm so glad that I'm here now. And like I made a statement for myself in South America, I felt like I really did put my name out there. I want to put my name out here in Europe. I'm not actually in Europe, but you know what I'm saying. And you know, make my mark. So that's really the next step. Bro, honestly, I didn't think it was going to be possible to do this in 2 years. Like, every single thing that I tried doing to get here, the entire time I thought that it wasn't going to work. The entire time. And it's not that I wasn't confident in my skills. It's just that this community, to be somebody, is not easy. You have to be really good at the game, or either know a lot about the game. And, you know, esports is kind of a cutthroat community like that, where if you don't know your stuff, you won't matter. But I'm not really one to back down from a challenge.